This list is our attempt to narrow down 3.5 decades of worthy live music events, legendary festivals, headlining tours from major artists, one-off stage collaborations, multimedia spectacles into an eclectic and satisfying blend. It took Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band 5 albums to have a hit, Hungry Heart from the River. His label had almost dropped them before the relative success of Born to Run saved them. But after releasing that album in 1984, with its 7 top 10 hits, Springsteen was the biggest rock star in the world, and pretty universally regarded as having the greatest live show. So in support of the album on his US tour, he played stadiums, joining a then very rarefied group of artists to have done that. In August and September 1985, he staged 6 mesmerizing, legendary shows at his home state, New Jersey's Giants Stadium. I was there for 2 of them. I remember being utterly transported, alternately aware and unaware of being among 70,000 people, equally spellbound, all of us singing along with him. He had no set decorations, it was just him and the band on a naked stage, with giant screens magnifying them to the colossuses they all were, for 3+ hours that felt timeless and, in the end, too short. I thought at the time that his charisma was almost terrifying, for the power he held over us. Who could have ever have been bigger than this, I wondered. Not Elvis, not the Beatles or the Stones, I thought, before chillingly concluding, perhaps only Hitler. Peter Gabriel has always recognized the crucial intersection of sound and image, from the startling costumes, the fox head, the phallic slipperman he donned on stage with Genesis, to his innovative work in the music video medium, the stop-motion cookiness of Sledgehammer. But his ambitious secret world tour, promoting 1992's Us, reached another level of visual splendor. The Trek, conceived with writer-director Robert Lepage and documented on a 1994 concert film, live album, featured intricate choreography, stage props, projections, experimental technology, and multiple stages, all drawing on the meditative lyrics of Gabriel's latest LP. The square stage represents the male, and the round-domed stage the female, the walkway between them providing communication and the link between the sexes. Lepage told Box magazine in 1993, the link also becomes a road or a river, a place of travel and transformation from one stage literally to another. The melodrama, Gabriel traversing a steamy conveyor belt on across the river and reaching out from a phone booth in Come Talk to Me, adds another dimension to his immaculately arranged music. Having each concluded solo outings, Beyonce with the Mrs. Carter Show World Tour following her surprise self-titled album, JayZ with the Magna Carta World Tour, music's biggest power couple, launched their massive co-headlining on the Run Jaunt in June 2014. The husband and wife used an outlaw theme for the video snippets, played on stadium screens, starring in broad daylight shootouts and desert getaways. But the most cinematic moments happened on stage, as the pair traded songs before teaming up for their signature hits. From the namesake Part 2 on the Run to the iconic Drunk in Love, as documented in the HBO concert special. The stage was mostly bare. Few decorations could handle the demands of even one of their catalogs. As a result, the show's beauty is how the 2 artists played off of each other. Across the numerous costume changes, they alternate black and white motifs, lend ad-libs and verses to each other's songs, and perform solo songs about relationship pains, JayZ's song Cry and B's Resentment, before joining each other with wanted posters of their faces brightly lit behind them. By the show's end, they were greater than the sum of their parts, to superstars joining forces to become notorious. Led Zeppelin's classic quintet played their final show on July 7, 1980, less than 3 months before the tragic death of drummer John Bonham, and reunion chatter followed their every move from that point on. The surviving trio, singer Robert Plant, guitarist Jimmy Page, and bassist John Paul Jones, regrouped for 2 ill-received mini-shows that decade, a 1985 spot for Live Aid, with Phil Collins and Chick's Tony Thompson on drums, and a 1988 event at Madison Square Garden celebrating Atlantic Records' 40th anniversary, with Bonham's son Jason behind the kit. If anything, the awkwardness and tentativeness of those gigs only fueled cravings for a proper reunion. And it finally arrived in 2007 when Plant, Page, Jones and the younger Bonham regrouped at London's O2 Arena. During a benefit for late Atlantic President Ahmet Erdogan, there were 20 million ticket requests, setting a Guinness World Record, and Led Zeppelin delivered on that insane hype with their 16-track set, tackling the unimpeachable staples Kashmir, Black Dog, and a couple unexpected curveballs, presents deep cuts for your life and nobody's fault but mine. Thankfully, for the millions who didn't catch the historic show, they also preserved the reunion on the Celebration Day film and DVD. For Madonna, her 1990 Blonde Ambition tour was more than just shock factor. It was meant to transform live pop music with complete creative control. The pop icon supported her fourth LP, 1989's Like a Prayer, with a dizzying production that combined sex, death, religion, and cone-shaped bras. The tour was high camp and at times more theater than concert. Divided into 5 acts: Metropolis, Religious, Dick Tracy, Art Deco, and Encore. The trek referenced everything from A Clockwork Orange to the AIDS epidemic, of course. Not everyone was pleased. The Pope and other religious groups blasted her use of religious iconography, and she was almost arrested in Toronto for breaching obscenity laws thanks to her performance of Like a Virgin, where she simulated masturbation on stage between 2 men sporting fox breasts. If anything, the drama around Blonde Ambition just elevated her fame, helping Madonna reclaim her narrative and power as the tabloids wrongfully deemed her a villain. By then, she'd ignited a blonde revolution. Kurt Cobain was done. At least, that's what the tabloids said. They also said that Nirvana was on the brink of collapse, that the singer was so strung out on heroin that he might not even show up to the band's headlining slot at Reading. Cobain heard the rumors and laughed. As the band went on stage for their headlining set, the frontman, decked out in a hospital gown, was pushed in a wheelchair before slowly getting up and collapsing. After a brief moment, Cobain arose and grabbed his guitar, with the band ripping into the one to Punch a Breed and Drain You, the start of what became their final UK show. Antics aside, Nirvana were their rawest, blending songs from their first 2 albums with previously unheard in utero tunes All Apologies and Dumb, after closing with territorial pissings and destroying their instruments. Nirvana left the British crowd shocked and mesmerized. Radiohead were sinking in creative quicksand back in 2005, working without producer Nigel Godrich for the first time in a decade. They trudged through rudderless recording sessions as Thom Yorke's famous blackboard of song ideas kept filling up. They found a solution the following summer, shaking off their collective struggle on the road. This legendary Bonnaroo set, which Radiohead recently preserved online, documents the band's rejuvenation as they bounced from ghostly electronics, the gloaming Idiotech to fractured art-rock balladry pyramid song to triple guitar alt-rock. The Bends. They also workshopped their in-progress songs, highlighted by a feral, slow-climbing take on Videotape. Bonnaroo 2006 is revered by Radioheads and the band itself. Multi-instrumentalist Johnny Greenwood described it as easily, comfortably, the best festival experience he's ever had in America. Before the Women's March, there was Lilith Fair, powered by the most influential women in music, Planned Parenthood booths, and even protesters. The all-female touring festival that took place between 1997 and 1999, with a revival in 2010, was one of the most successful in history. The brainchild of singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan, Lilith Fair proved wrong music business naysayers who said an all-women lineup wouldn't sell. Throughout its tenure, it featured major artists across alt-rock, country and pop, including Liz Fair, Lisa Loeb, Joan Osborne, The Pretenders, Bonnie Raitt, The Chicks, Missy Elliott, and Erykah Badu. Despite pushing boundaries at the time, the festival has still been criticized for its lack of diversity over the years. Should it ever be revived again? Hopefully organizers wouldn't make that same mistake. At this point, what isn't there to be said about Live Aid's centerpiece performance? Though it's not quite the fanfic that Bohemian Rhapsody hyped it up to be. This early evening set was still Queen at their pinnacle, on stage at London's Wembley Stadium. The band opened with a tease of their prog pop anthem Bohemian Rhapsody before firing off 5 other hits, though they did map out one final tour with Freddie Mercury and move forward with varying degrees of success with different frontmen years later. This brief concert became a cultural time capsule, moment showcasing a legendary rock band in full flight and becoming a blueprint for how to stand out amid a crowded festival lineup. Lalapalooza changed the trajectory of the 90s, helping usher the alternative era into the mainstream. The tour, the brainchild of Perry Farrell and Mark Geiger, was meant as a friendly farewell to Jane's Addiction, as the group first dissolved following the 1991 tour. But it became something bigger, with a wide-ranging lineup including 9 Inch Nails, Ice-T and Body Count, Susie and the Banshees, Living Colour, Rollins Band, and Violent Femmes. Lollapalooza provided a common home for artists on the mainstream periphery, hitting sheds across the states. The 5-week jaunt proved a success with its carnival-like atmosphere, extracurricular activities, a circus sideshow, environmental activism, and genre-fusing approach. Lolla became the template for what became the modern American festival. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.